Welcome to my review of the Ancel AD410 Pro. Why is it a Pro? I don't know, man. That word pro is becoming like the word amazing, where it's overused, right? But I do love this thing because it saves me a world of time. Why does it save me time? Because I'm a dealership technician, and oftentimes customers will come in with a check engine light and or a battery light and need it tested. Nothing wrong with that, but sometimes the shop is flooded with cars, so we don't have the availability to run up there or bring the car in. Just if the check engine light can be for like someone left the gas cap loose, or if the battery light is on the dash saying replace battery in these newer cars, the car's pretty smart to know it needs a new battery. We just use something like this to confirm that it needs a new battery, right? So what I can do is give this to my service advisor and tell them to leave me the alone. No, but in all seriousness, this is a neat tool. Check engine light, OBD2 code reader, plus it can test batteries, charging, and starting status, all right? So let me show you how this thing works. All right, let's do the unboxing, or unpackaging rather. Clamshell style packaging. Comes with a cable used for updating the scanner. Here's the scanner itself. Just a simple OBD2 handheld scanner code reader. Got a user's manual and the adapter used for checking batteries. All right, it's very simple to use. It just plugs in to the OBD2 port like any car does. It'll power on, select the OBD2 function. It'll figure out how it's supposed to communicate. It'll tell you some quick information if the MIL, which means malfunction indicator lamp, is on or off. Ours is off. We have no codes here. Just using this for purposes of the video. And we're going to go ahead and go into it. A couple options here it gives you to pick. I'm not really sure which one you should be picking, right? So you just try them. Read codes. We got no codes, of course. If you want to erase codes, you can erase codes. IM readiness are the emissions monitors. Tell you if the test has been passed, incomplete, or not applicable. Data stream. You can read some data from the module, which is nice. I don't like the font of the screen. It doesn't give you too many options. You get to see 3 things at one time. But you can read your fuel trims, engine RPM, a little bit of timing. Give you some good, some pretty decent data that you can read from this little thing. All right. You can select which ones you want to see. If you want to make the screen more convenient for you. If I'm just curious about coolant temp and trim, then I'll only have those 2 reading on my screen. If I want to view a graph, it's got the graphing capability. The only problem with that is the graph is pretty small. So I would not use this thing for the most part to diagnose a car, but I would use it to get some overall information to know what path I would take. So let's say you're on the road, light comes on, plug it in, you can get an idea as to what's happening, but not necessarily use this to diagnose the codes, because these OBD2 scanners, they're basic information. There's not a whole lot you can do to thoroughly diagnose it unless you have experience and knowledge as to what you're looking at. Then this will help you figure out what's going on with the car. Freeze frame is when a fault code sets. It takes a snapshot of all the readings, so you kind of get some better information as to what happened with the engine module or with the operating parameters when that code set. O2 sensor test gives you the option to test the O2 sensors, or shows you the test that the module performed, so you're not really testing them yourself. All right. Just gives you information for all the tests. If you got any misfire counts. Depending on the car, it might support some tests. I just have yet to see a car that it works for yet. And it's able to read the VIN, which is nice. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and get out of here. So it shows you the IMs, tells you what's available, what's passed, or what's failed. Battery check we'll do next. DTC lookup, if you get a code, you can put in a code and it would give you some information to the code. All right, so reviews if you had a code. And then of course you got the setup. I have the beep on just so you can hear it. I know it's annoying. I'll turn this thing off. You can record. Okay, change the background. Feedbacks for the company. And some tool information in case you want to update the software. All right. So to me, the exciting part about the OBD2 is mainly just to read the code and see what the code says to let you know if the car is safe to drive or not. Or let's say you're a shop and you got a code and you want to know if you should keep the car or let it go. Because a lot of cars today, people just forget to put the gas cap back on. All right. But what I really like about this is that not only can you just read the code, but you can also check the battery. All right. Oh, we're not going to do that while it's plugged into the OBD2. So I'm going to disconnect it and we'll check the battery. All right. I'm actually more impressed with the battery testing function of this, just because it saves you the hassle of having to carry around two different types of equipment, we'll say, right? So connect the positive, then I'll connect the negative. It's going to power on. All right. I'm going to go to battery. Okay. I guess I didn't have it situated. Did not like me there. All right. The car was just ran, so it's higher than it should be. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and enter. We're going to do battery test. It's a car. It is a maintenance free, but it is a regular flooded. This rating is 750 cold cranking amps. We'll pick cold cranking amps. It's already set at 750. Doing a test. Good battery. Got the rating. It knows based on the internal resistance. All right, so it knows the health based on the resistance. Okay, so now we'll get out of there. We will do the cranking test. It wants me to turn the ignition off, which is off. All right, hit enter to start detection. Okay, it wants me to turn the ignition on. So let me see how I can do this so you guys can see. Okay, it wants me to turn the ignition on. As the engine started. All right. So that's what it tested. It tested the voltage drop, or what the voltage went down to, because some of the electrical guys that are smart with electrical testing are probably going to chew me out for the voltage drop. But that's what we're checking here, is to see how low the voltage gets to when you crank. All right, so it shows you the current voltage, the voltage that it got down to, which is typical. Around 9 volts, 10 volts is what a battery will go to. If it dips down below 9, down to like 8 or 7, you got a weak battery. All right, so cranking is normal, good to go. Now we'll do the charging test. So headlights off and air conditioner, keep 10 seconds. Let's see. Actually, that's wrong. Car should be running. I'm gonna do this one over. All right, so we're doing this over. So I'm hit charging test. Go ahead and start it up. Right now I'm trying to hold the RPM steady. And now I'm going to turn on the accessories. Try to keep it for 10 seconds. Now it shows us the charging voltage. A little tricky to do the test, but it does the test nonetheless. So I mean, hey, as far as a review, I like this thing. It's pretty neat that it does the battery and the OBD2, right? When I first got it, I was like, what are these people coming up with, right? But after using it for quite a few times, or having my service advisor use it as well, just to, it helps the customer quicker. It gives us an answer a little bit quicker, right? The factory scanner takes time to boot up. The bigger scanners take time to boot up. If you're a do-it-yourselfer, or maybe you just want something like this just to see what's going on with your car, this is gonna help you, because if the check engine light pops on, it can be hundreds of things, thousands of things. Many things can make the light come on, right? Having something like this gives you a heads up as to what's going on, so you know if it's safe to drive or not, right? On top of that, if you have a battery issue, or you're concerned about your battery, maybe you're going into winter, maybe you're ready to go on a trip, you don't want to go anywhere and have somebody test it, you're unsure of the person that's testing it, the owner's manual walks you through it. This thing is very simple to use, tells you if your battery is good, if your alternator's charging pretty good, if your starter's working, right? It also, since the starter passed the cranking test, or the battery passed the starter cranking, that also tells you if the cables to the starter are pretty good, because if the starter cables weren't good, it would actually cause excessive draw, right? Or it would kill the battery or weaken the battery a little bit more than it did. So it kind of gives you a little bit more information as to what's happening by, if you're cranking it and the cranking voltage is dipping down way low, you may not have a weak battery, you may have an excessive draw or an excessive amperage draw from the starter, right? So it kind of gives you a little bit more of an idea of what's happening. So it's as far as a review, I like this thing. I recommend it to everybody, right? Especially shops. It saves you the hassle of writing up a ticket, getting in the shop, having to wait, wait around till a technician's free, get the car, bring it in just to find out the gas cap was loose, right? Which set off like a slight evap leak or something like that, or a massive leak if the gas cap was off. Companies find me on Instagram and YouTube, and they send me these products free of charge for review. I am not paid for my review. I'm not paid for this video. I do these out of my own time to give you guys insight to the product, to see if it's something you like or something you want. I myself am I'm an indecisive buyer. I go crazy trying to decide if I want something, right? You can't just go to a store and buy something. You usually got to order it online. You got to wait a week for it to show up. It shows up, you decide you don't like it, and I got to worry about returning it, right? So that's why I try to do some of these reviews to give you my opinion if it's something you're going to use. You can see how it's used. You can see how it works. You can see if it's something that's going to help you in your day-to-day, right? So in short, it reads codes. It'll clear codes only from the engine module. That's it. You'll get some live data only from the engine module. That's it. You can check the starter. You can check the battery. You can check the alternator. You can check the basically the charging voltage, the battery voltage, the draw on the battery, or the battery voltage as it's cranking, so you know how low it's getting. It tells you if it's good or not, right? So that kind of helps you to determine if you need something, right? Most times, if you guys have a check engine light or a battery type of issue, what's the first thing you do? You probably drive to a parts store, right, to see if one of those guys will lug out the machine without being disgruntled that they have to do something extra, right? Which I get. I used to work for a place that would make you get in the zone, right? And it was hard to do because you got a shop full of, or a store full of customers, but somebody wants you to go out there and test their battery or their check engine light, or they want you to erase it because they did work, right? Nothing wrong with that. But if you have your own stuff, you don't have to rely on somebody else, right? So, hey, my name is Lou. Thanks for checking out the Master Tech Lou channel and my review video. I hope you like it. I'll leave a link down below in the description. There'll also be a coupon code, either something that I provide that they give me for my viewers, or it'll be on the link that I send you. There's usually a coupon. You can check a box and get an extra couple bucks off, right? So if you're a company wanting me to do a review for you, you can find me on Instagram at MasterTechLou, or you can try to find me or message me in the comments on my YouTube channel, right? So, hey, I appreciate you guys watching. Appreciate you guys in general. So take care.